Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. You know, there are days when I've got a bunch of mass-produced, utterly anodyne, soulless watches that I have to crank out on this camera. And then there are days like this when I get to speak about something I love passionately and personally. This is the Patek Philippe 5970P-001, part of the much-loved Patek Philippe 5970 line of Perpetual Calendar Chronographs. This model was offered from roughly 2009 to 2010, with perhaps a few delivered in very late 2008. But the point is, it was a very short production run. And this generation of Perpetual Calendar Chronograph, the 5970, was not made for terribly long time. It was approximately 04 to 2011, with roughly 2,800 made and no more than a few hundred of any given version. It is a rare and coveted watch. Like its predecessor, the 3970, it uses essentially the same Le Mans-based chronograph caliber, but in a larger case. Here, platinum at 40 millimeters diameter rather than 36.2 of the 3970. So it is platinum, and you can tell that because it's got the top Vesselton diamond between the lugs. 40 millimeters in diameter, it's 13.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 46.7 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now that lug to lug, 46.7, is very important because more than any other dimension, it dictates what kind of wrist can wear the watch. And I'm happy to say almost any wrist. On my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference and anything but large, you can see how much clearance I've got on each side of the lugs. Bare minimum, 14 centimeter circumference wrist, possibly even 13.5 centimeter circumference wrist. So if your wrist is 13.5 and flat across the top like mine, you're going to find this wears really well. This could be worn by a woman as well as a man. Taking a look in profile, it's not super thick, but it's the concave profile of the bezel and the slope of the case that ensures that, although not ultra thin, the watch will fit underneath any tight sleeve or dress cuff. Necessarily, the strap is newer than the watch. You can see calfskin on the bottom. We have large, rectangular, symmetrical scale alligator leather on the top with a little bit of a distressed graining to it, semi-gloss. We've got a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and then on the bottom you can see Patek's pull-tab spring bars. With your fingernail, you can pop the strap right off of the case. The buckle is platinum to match the watch, and it features a radial spring that does a particularly good job of keeping everything together. So while it's not a trigger lock clasp that needs to be released with some sort of trigger release, it does stay put, and it is very reliable in that regard, far more than many. And we have a buckle in the form of the Calatrava cross, the symbol of the Patek Philippe manufacturer, which you will also find on the crown. The case is beautiful, and as you could see, the lugs immaculately welded into place and then hand filed to create these super sharp breaks between case and lug. This is artisanal case making at its best and beautiful to behold. A truly handcrafted watch inside and out. Everything's of high polish. You can see the lugs have a little bit of a soft bevel on their profile, though the step from lug to case is dramatic. The case is curved and the case back is inset, so when it's on your wrist it actually sinks down. This is what you see. It actually looks thinner than it is because you can't see that case back. The bezel is concave to create the impression of a much thinner watch, and we have these vintage inspired rectangular pushers that have satination on their sides and then polish on their face. We do have little pusher adjusters, and as you could see, a very subtle tonal difference between the pusher and the case. The pusher is made of white gold, and it's used because 18 karat white gold is much harder than platinum, and therefore that is better able to deal with the tool itself that's used to set the calendar. Traditional program wheel and grand lever perpetual calendar system here, so we do have many little pusher adjusters. And to make sure you don't set the watch with those pushers during the so-called danger zone, if you look over at 9 o'clock, you can see we have a coaxial running seconds hand, and then also that little stub below it, that white hand, that is the 24-hour indicator, so you know whether you're looking at day or night. You can see how the watch is rolling right now. Take a look at that little stub, and you can see we're just after midnight, so you know you're looking at 2 a.m., not 2 p.m. Perpetual calendar, you better believe it. The heir to Patek's long-running Perpetual calendar legacy dating back to 1941's 1518. The watch that you see here features a number of registers. We have the day, the month, coaxial, we have the leap year phase and the jumping chronograph minutes. We have the moon phase and the date, and then the running seconds and the 24-hour indicator. So the moon phase is good for 122 years between settings, and the perpetual calendar does not need to be corrected until the year 2100, which, due to a quirk of the Gregorian calendar, will not be a leap year. We have white gold indices and hands, so they will not tarnish or oxidize with time. And you can see that the dial base is a lovely matte black. It's not a bright glossy black. It's more of an anti-reflective quality as I see it in person. White on black printing, beautiful for the tachymetric scale. If you start the tachymetric scale when a race car begins a kilometer, that's how this works, then you wait for the race car to finish the kilometer, and when it reaches the end of that kilometer, at that moment you stop the chronograph. And then you look next to the chronograph seconds hand, and you can see 300. Okay, so the race car is going 300 kilometers per hour, which I think is somewhere around 180 miles an hour. It's a fast race car. We're at the 24 hours of Le Mans. Also, the column wheel feel of this watch is otherworldly. If you want a reference point for a fine column wheel feel, this right here. Also, note the attention to detail as the crown is slightly countersunk into the case band so it doesn't stick out obtrusively. You can see we're into a modern era of Patek Philippe case making, as we've now got welded lugs and a screwed-in case back in platinum, and that Patek is doing the work. Patek started making cases with the purchase of Atelier Réuni in Geneva in 1975, although complex constructions, particularly minute repeaters and grand complications, remained the domain of outside specialists like Jean-Pierre Hagman. By this point, in the 2000s, Patek was making relatively complex cases at its own factory. Now, the movement's based on the Lemania 2310, or maybe the luxurious 2320 version of the Lemania movement. But the 2310, by other means and another name, went to the moon as the Omega 321, and it's been used by many high-end chronograph operators, everyone from Patek Philippe, Roger Dubuis, Vacheron Constantin, and more. It's a beautiful traditional lateral clutch column wheel movement. Here's the lateral clutch, here's the column wheel. It has instantaneous jumping minutes. You can see the minute jumper right there. Patek has made some changes here. They added high horology decoration, which meets the standard of the Poisson de Genève. They replaced the mobile stud index regulator with their unique shock-resistant and very precise Gyromax free-sprung balance. They replaced the flat hairspring with an overcoil, and they upgraded the power reserve from 48 hours to 60 hours, of course, manually wound. By the way, I should also mention, just winding this is a pleasure. The feel and the sound, the refinement, second to none. If you're wondering where the column wheel is, this is a very traditional Geneva trope, the capped column wheel. And then you can see the lateral clutch adjacent. 24 jewels adjusted to hot, cold, isochronism, and 8. Yes, 8 positions. It says so right there. Overcoil hairspring, allowing concentric breathing of this Patek Philippe caliber CH 2770 PSQ. And it beats away at 18,000 vibrations per hour, or 2.5 hertz, 5 beats per second. So you get that nice slow chug-a-chug of the chronograph seconds hand. Back in its day, it would have been 30 meters water resistant, but I beg you not test the theory. There are other Patek Philippe watches for that. This was a good day at the office, and this watch was a big part of that day. If you want to make every day this good, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.